Function is a set of statements which performs one single task. So guys, that is what I will call it as a method in another words. Nesting in the sense method inside the method is what I will call it as a nesting of methods. Array in the sense what? Array is a collection of multiple elements, not one value. Hello everyone, I welcome all of you to the yet another interesting session in .NET programming. So guys, what do I have for all of you in today's session? It's all about methods in C#. Probably you would have come across with this word called method. So if not, I think you are in the right place to understand what exactly the methods is all about in detail from the scratch. Yes, without wasting much of your time, let me get into the session. So guys, in this session, I will be discussing 9 important concepts of methods. So in detail, one by one. So let me start with the first topic that I have here. So that's going to be declaration of methods, especially how do I declare a method. So that's the first topic that I have here. My dear students, before going to that topic, let me tell you what exactly method is all about. We also call the method as functions. So what is function? Function is a set of statements which performs one single task. So guys, that is what I will call it as a method in another words. So fine, how do I declare a method? So that's going to be a question now. So if you want to declare any method, so you have to follow some certain syntax. So this is the syntax that I have to follow if I want to declare a method. So what is the different number of parts that I have in this method? My dear students, you have 5 parts in this method. The first part is this one. So that is what I will call it as a modifier. The second part is this one. That's what I will call it as a type. And the third part is what I will call it as a method name, and the fourth one is what I will call it as a formal parameter list. Sir, it's very important that you need to remember this name. That's what I will call it as a formal parameter list. You'll also come across with another type of parameter list. That is what I will call it as the actual parameter list. So you should know the difference between the formal parameter list and actual parameter list. So where do I use this formal parameter? And where do I use the actual parameter? This is what you should have a clear idea. Whenever you have any method, so if you have a parameters inside that, okay, so that is what I will call it as a formal parameter. So where will I have the parameters? When I'm defining the method, if I have the parameter, so that is what I will call it as a formal parameter. So fine. So guys, the last one, that's what I will call it as a method body. So fine, sir, you have given us 5 different parts. You did not explain what exactly that 5 parts is all about. Listen to me carefully. The first part is all about the modifier. So modifier in the sense access modifier. So it could be public. You all know what is public, private and protected. Suppose if I make my modifier as public, so this method can be accessed anywhere. So that is what you need to remember. In this place, I will be specifying my modifier. Modifier in the sense it can be public, private and protected. That's what you need to remember. So fine. What is this type? I will be mentioning this type as return type. It could be int or it could be void. That's what you need to remember. Int in the sense this function returns some value. Void in the sense it does not return the value. That is what I will be mentioning in this place. The next one, I will be using the method name. I have to give the method name. You need to remember one thing, when I'm writing the method name, I have to follow the identifier rules. Sir, what is the meaning of identifier rules? Probably you would have forgotten it, right? So yes, it's a time for me to recollect that. So first thing that I have to remember when I'm naming any method, usually this is my suggestions to all of you. So that is going to be like this. So this method name should speak what exactly this method is doing. So that should be the name of the method. So fine. So when I'm giving the name, I have to follow some certain rules. What is that certain rules? The name should not be a keyword. So that is what you need to remember. It should not be a reserved word. And it should not start with a digit. And there should you should not have any space in between the name. And you should not use any special character. This is the important rules that you have to follow whenever you are giving the name for the method. Then after that, you will have a parameter list, and you can define your own statements what exactly this function or the method should perform. So this is how you will be writing your method. So fine, let's take an example. I think I've already explained about the different parts of the method. So now this is an example that I'm showing you. So guys, so here the modifier is optional here. That's what you need to remember in this example. So think I have considered it as an int. So this is what I will call it as a type, return type. So it should return the value. Observe here, I have the return statement in this function. Suppose if I've taken it as a void, so I will not have the return statement. That is what you need to observe here. So fine, this is related to this statement. Cool. So what is this product? Product is the name of the method, and this is the parameters. What type of parameter? Observe here. What type of parameter? Formal parameter. So I will introduce one more type of parameter in the coming slide. So fine, how many parameters I have? I have two parameters. Whenever you are giving the parameters, you have to mention the type of this parameter. X is of type int, comma, Y is of type int. I have two parameters. That's what you need to remember. And this is the body of the method. That's what you need to remember. So fine, cool. You got an idea about the method now. So moving forward to the next one, I have something called main method. Whenever I use method, you just have to remember the word function, my dear students. Both exchange the same meaning. But in C#, I will not call it as a function. Instead, I will call it as a method. That's what you need to remember. Main method in the sense what? Always your program execution starts from the main method. This is a very important point that you need to remember. So fine. How do I write my statement for the main method? So observe here, I have taken the four possibilities. The first one that we have here is this. So what is that? So the first thing that I have written it as a modifier, that is public. So I'm making this main method as public so that I can access it anywhere in the program. The second one is static. What is the meaning of static? I'm making this main method as static so that I don't have to create the object for this main method to call. That is most important. If I want to call any method, so observe here I have created the product method. So if I want to call this method, if I want to invoke this method, I have to create the object. But when it comes to the main method, I don't have to create the object. This is a point that you have to make a note. Do I need to use the object to call the main method? No, because you are making it as a static. That is what you need to remember. So fine. This int is a return type. You all know it does not return any value. Is it? No, it returns a value. Suppose if it is a void, it does not return any value. So fine. The name of the function is main. That's what you need to remember. So here I have taken int. Here I have taken void. You can also have both the possibilities. That's why I have taken this. One more beautiful thing that you need to observe here. Guys, string arguments of type array. So guys, what exactly is this? You are passing the command line arguments, which I have discussed in the beginning session. What is command line arguments? Runtime arguments. You can pass arguments in the command lines. So that is what I have given. So even for the main function, you can pass the command line arguments with the help of these things. Okay, that is what you need to remember. This is how I will be writing the statement for the main function. Moving forward, invoking the methods. Invoking in the sense what? I'm making awake, or I'm making it active. I'm making it to run at that particular point of time. Okay. So till when I will not call any function, till then that function will not get executed. Sir, I've written that function, sir, but it is not working for me. Until you call that function, it will not work for you, my dear student. That is what you need to remember. Then how do I call that function? So you need to remember the syntax to call the function. What is the syntax? If you want to call any function, so first of all, you have to create the object for that particular class. So that is what you need to remember. First, I will mention the object name. I will show you how do I create the object, but you just need to remember the syntax to invoke any method. What is the first thing that I have? I have the object name. So followed by, I will use the dot operator. What is that you will remember? Object name dot, which method you want to call. So you will write that name. So fine, if I want to call a product method, so I will write product. then within the parenthesis, observe here what type of parameters you have. You have actual parameters. When you are defining a method, so within the parenthesis, what type of parameters you have? You have formal parameters. Whenever you are calling any method, okay, so whenever you are passing any parameters, I will call that as a actual parameters. This is the difference that you need to remember. All right, so this is the syntax to call any method. I'll show you, I'll take an example to explain that. So concentrate how exactly we are calling any method. So guys, you all know that I don't have to speak about this, so let me not waste your time much on that. So systems is a namespace. So I have a class. What is the name of the class that I have here? I have the method as the name of the class. So fine, in that I am defining a method. So what is the return type? Int. If I use int, I should have a return statement. Do I have that? Yes. Name of the method is cube. How many actual parameters I have? Actual or formal? So my dear students, I'm defining the method, so I will be treating this as a formal parameter. How many parameters do I have? I have one formal parameter, so observe that. So fine, I will close the method here and I will close this class. So fine, I have the main class here. So what is the name of the method? So method test. Then after that, I will define my main function. In this class or in this main method, I will create the object for this class. How do I create the object for this class? Observe. So method, what is this method? Why this method is coming? So this method is the name of this class. And this M is the object which I'm creating for this class. That's what you need to remember. Using this new keyword, I will allocate the memory for this method constructor. So fine, basically this line is creating the object, and object name is em. That's what you need to remember at this point of time. So fine, observe here, I'm trying to invoke the method. Which method? This method. How do I do that? You all know the syntax, right? First, object name. Observe here, I'm using em. Em is what? You have created the object. Object dot cube. Cube is the method name. So fine, and the parameter I'm passing 5. So what is this 5? That 5 is the actual parameter. So this statement is what I will call it as a method call or invoking the method. So fine, this call will come here. I will start executing. So this return statement returns some value. So cube of 5. So this result will come back to this statement, and then I will use the assignment operator here. Observe here is equal to the value whatever I have here in the statement, it will get assigned to y, and then I will print the y. So that's how my program is working. So this is what you need to remember with respect to the invoking the method. All right, so fine, moving forward to the next one, nesting of methods. When it comes to the nesting of methods, probably all of you would have come across with a word called nesting. My dear students, nesting in the sense method inside the method is what I will call it as a nesting of methods. So fine, observe what I have here. Always you all know that the execution of the program always starts from the main function. Let me go to the main function directly. So guys, nesting, I'm creating the object called next. So fine, whenever I use a word called nesting, so directly it will start searching for the class nesting. So fine, I have a class. So for this, I will create the object in the sense instance for this class, copy of this class. So fine, for this object, I'm trying to allocate the memory, all right, with the new operator and the constructor. So fine, after that, observe here, I have the function call. You all know that, method invoking. So next is the object, dot largest is the method. So that's what you need to observe. Largest is a method. So how many parameters, actual parameters I have? 2 actual parameters. So function call will directly come to the largest. Where is largest? Here is the largest. So I have 2 parameters, 100 and 200 is what I have here. That value will get assigned to these 2 parameters. So fine, good and fair enough. So I will go inside this method. So again, I will start executing this line. So what I have here, data type and variable. So here, again, I have a function call. What is this? Max. I'm passing 2 values. Again, what is that? 100 and 200 is what I'm passing here. So again, the function call, so it will not go to the next line. So it will directly go to the max function. Where is my max function? Here is the max function. So this largest is a method. So inside this method, I have one more method invoking statement. So this is what I will call it as a nesting of method. That's what you need to observe in this program. So fine. So once I got the largest of two numbers, the answer will be returned to this statement. So I will have the largest value in this variable and I'll print that here. That's it. That's how this program is working. So which explain the concept of nesting of methods. Moving forward to the next topic that I have, method parameters. My dear students, I have discussed this topic when I was discussing the different types of parameters, but I think I have got one more time to discuss the same thing. So you all know that value parameters, reference parameters, and also you have output parameters and parameters array. So let's take an example, a simple program to explain all these types of parameters one by one. So guys, I think this is the example that I have to explain the concept of pass by value. Okay, so guys, what exactly pass by value in the sense? Imagine this is a function. So all this example, whatever you have seen, all these functions are an example for pass by value. So pass by value in the sense what? Observe here, this is a function. So what type am I passing to this function? Am I passing the value or am I passing the address? I'm passing the value here directly. So parameters are passing the value directly. This is an example for pass by value. So instead of passing the value, so I will pass the address of this variable. How do I pass that? Observe here. Okay, I'm not passing the value here with the keyword called ref. Okay, so this ref indicates that I'm passing the address of this parameter. So if I pass this, can you guess what is this? This pass by reference. Okay, that's what you need to remember. If I don't have this keyword, I'm passing the value. That is what I will call as the pass by value. So whenever you have any method, so you will have the parameters. You can pass two things. One is reference of the parameter or the value in the parameter. That is what you need to remember. Whenever I have this reference keyword, you need to understand that I'm not passing the value. Instead, I'm passing the reference of that parameter. That's what you need to remember here. Moving forward to the next one that I have, output parameter. This is one of the brilliant concepts that we have. What should I know about this output parameter? Guys, here you can see that I'm using one of the keyword called out before I declare the data type for this parameter. So what is this? What exactly the role of this output parameter? We all know that parameter in the sense I'm taking the value inside this method. But this output, especially when I write out, so you are passing the value out of this method. Okay, that is first thing you need. That is the first thing that you need to remember. The second thing that you need to remember is whenever I'm using a return statement in my function, observe here, I think I would have used the return statement somewhere. Okay, here. What exactly this return statement is doing? Return statement is meant to return some value. Some value, it is not some value, it will return only one value. That is a drawback of this return statement. Whenever I need to pass more than one value, I will be using the output parameter. Okay, so this is the method that I can use to pass more than one value, especially two values. So I will be able to pass the value out of this method with the help of output parameter is what you need to remember. How do I define the output parameter? You just have to use the keyword out in front of that parameter. So that's what you need to remember with respect to the output parameter. And moving forward to the next one, if I want to pass the array as a parameter, you understood how do I pass the value? Okay, to the method. So you understood. How do I pass the reference? You understood. How do I pass the value out of the method? You understood. Now you will understand how do I take the array as a parameter. Array in the sense what? Array is a collection of multiple elements, not one value. Now I'm trying to pass the entire array as a parameter to this function. How do I do that? You have to use a keyword called params. Before your array, so you have to mention the keyword params to take the parameter as an array. That is what you need to remember with respect to the variable argument list. So with this, I think you got a fair idea about how do I pass the array as a parameter. Now, the next concept, very interesting topic that I have here is overloading. What exactly overloading is all about? You all know that a method is there. So in a class, how many methods I can have? You can have n number of methods. Okay. So when I have more than one method with the same name, Okay, I will call that as a overloading. I repeat, when I have the method, okay, more than one method with the same name, that I will call it as a method overloading. Sir, will I call only that as a overloading? No. Listen to me carefully, the definition of method overloading. So my dear students, a class can have more than one method with the same name but different number of parameters and different type of parameters, then that I will call it as a method overloading. So guys, let me explain this concept with this program. Observe here, I have a main method. You just leave that, you just ignore that. So observe, what is this? So volume. So what is this volume? Volume is the name of the method what I have. So how many parameters I have? I have one parameters. This is the number of the parameters. I have only one parameter. So fine. So observe this. What is this? This is a method. What is the name of the method? Volume. So observe, I have the method name volume already, but still I have the second method name as volume. You need to check, observe what is the number of parameters that you have. I have one here, I have two here. That's what you need to observe here. There is a space here, int h. Okay, that's what you need to observe. So I have one and I have two parameters, but the method name is same. Observe here, I have one more time the same method name, that is volume. The number of parameters are different. So this is what I will call it as a method overloading. When you have the same method with a different number and different types of parameter, that concept I will call it as a method overloading. Sir, can I have two methods which is having same name? Yes, you can have two methods which is having same name. Okay, fine, sir. We have three, so we don't have any doubt. But can I have two methods with the same number of parameters? Yes, of course. So here also one parameter, here also one parameter, here also two parameter, here also two parameter. Then how do I differentiate, sir? So for that reason, my dear students, the type should be different. The parameter type should be different in that case. Okay, that is what you need to remember. This concept is what I will call it as a method overloading. By now, I've come to an end of this session. So thank you very much. Stay safe. Bye-bye. Thank you, everybody.